Now, I know some of you are already looking at the title of this video and you're thinking to yourself, finally, somebody's gonna tell the world that the 20-loss streak is not my fault, it's the ELO agents, it's the NetEase government-mandated throwers put into my games by the algorithm, and I always knew it couldn't be me because I am the GOAT! And listen, slow your roll there, Maestro. We will get to that when we get to that. But I am here to tell you that EOMM does exist. It's just not the reason you can't climb. So for those of you who are new around here, and this is the first video that you've seen of me, I'm here to tell you right now, I'm not crazy. Which is exactly what a crazy person would say, and let's be honest, no sane person would wear a shirt that says that. But regardless, let's get to what you came here for, shall we? Because NetEase's EOMM research has come out and shown that their matchmaker values player satisfaction, shorter match times, and shorter queues. Because they actively say in the GDC video, which is linked in the description below, it's like an hour long, so if you want to watch it, go ahead. But they say that longer matches that are close and competitive are avoided. Because those are the type of matches where you're like, oh man, what a win, and you need a break. Or, oh man, we were so fun, man, I need a break after that, man, we lost. And those usually lead to higher churn rates. Churn is a word, and we're not talking churn and butter here, is that you're gonna hear repeated often, frequent, and all throughout this conference, because what they don't want you to do as a player is the action that you are about to see take place. See how I got up and did anything else besides angry Q back into the game? That right there. They don't want to see any empty seats. They don't want to sell any fantastic gaming chairs that might make you suspiciously good in a video game. They don't want any of the sort. Now, do I think this is messed up? Absolutely. Do I think this is a little bit insidious? I think it's crazy. I think it's over the top. I think it's something that we should have avoided at all costs. I'm 100% with you right there, okay? But they also go to show that they do care about trying to get player skill as close as they can while satisfying these other parameters. But now you may say, whoa, content creator, you said they wanted shorter matches. Well, in a game like Marvel Rivals, how would you get shorter matches? Well, you guessed it, the stomps, the rolls, you're getting cooked, or you're doing the cooking, not competitive games. People getting rolled left and right. That is exactly what they try to give you a little bit more of. Some in your favor, some in your opponent's favor, but ultimately trying to keep you rapid queuing so you don't have too much downtime. It's like gambling. Some people, when they lose their money quick, they're like, I can make it right back. I just gotta get one more good hand. And then they get that really good hand and they're up and they're like, come on, man, we can't quit on this. We're on a roll, baby. Just to lose it all again. It's very similar to how a lot of Vegas casinos handle their business. Now, that's not to say this is completely gambling, because skill is involved, because there's a reason why some people who are stuck in Celestial aren't stuck in gold. There's a reason why some people hard stuck in silver are like, I deserve to be in diamond. Then they go on some content creator stream, get in an all diamond game, and then prove to the world, no, silver is exactly where you belong, bud. Trust. And ultimately, this whole situation really boils down to, is the EOMM stopping people from climbing? No, it's not. To be honest, it's a lot more of an involved conversation that we will have, because your boy brought arts and crafts and graphs. So let's go ahead and get to the tape. Now, class, as some of you may know, this game is giving you loss streaks. It is giving you win streaks, because they also talked in that GDC conference that streaks and the order in which you get your wins and losses actually do matter and do affect people's turn rate. So if someone's going L, 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 and they're just going on a meteoric fall right down into the Earth's crust, they're probably not gonna stick around very long. So, you know, they might give you that pity win here, and another pity win here, and another pity win here, in which the algorithm isn't giving you the win outright, but it's making it to where, on paper, this team that you are on has like a 55% chance of winning, as opposed to a 45% chance of winning, using various data points of how long people's churn rates are, how long of a streak they're on that's winning or losing, taking all types of data points into consideration to come up with this magic number. And sometimes it does its job. Sometimes, well, hey, you know, cheers to you, man. It's just not working out. Now, that being said, they also talked about people on big win streaks. At a certain point, there is a magic number where they're like, all right, that's 5 in a row. I could take a break. So, you know, they might sprinkle in this and say, nah, actually, that'll be an L, etc., etc. All right, so we should probably start off by just talking about the ranking system itself, because as we know, besides One Above All in Eternity, talking about the rest of us, the peons of the world, from Celestial 1 all the way down to Bronze 3, each of these has 3 tiers in them. But that leaves us with only 21 groupings or skill buckets to put everybody in. You mean to tell me that you think with every player and every hero that they might play at a different level on that same account can be accounted for with just 21 groupings? That's insane. That's asinine. That's crazy. We're asking the algorithm to do a lot here with 21 things. And remember, back in season 0 and was season 1 and 1.5, Celestial wasn't even a thing. So it was even worse then. But with the addition of Celestial, now we have 3 extra buckets, and even then that may still not be enough. And the reason why I say that is, some of you might perform at a Plat 1 level. That's your baseline. That's who you are. That's what you do. But there are going to be some days, brother, it feels like you can't miss a shot. Sister, it feels like you are cooking up a storm. Sometimes it's going to feel like, man, I'm really good today. I had 8 hours of sleep, had a good breakfast. My lover came over and made sweet love to my bosom. And I'm on cloud 9, man. I'm performing at a mid-diamond level. And you going up there and you cooking. But then you go back to normal because you didn't actually get better at the game. You felt better. Because most people do not play at a consistent bar average all the way across the board. They don't. You're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs. There's gonna be games where you're here. But what happens when you're having a day where you're here? After a day you climbed here. Brother, they're gonna look at you as the ELO agent. That's right. You are the reason for everyone on this team's government mandated loss. You're the problem. And for some people, I get it. Sometimes you think you got it figured out. You think you're getting better at a player. But to be honest with you, some of you, I've seen some of your VODs. Y'all are taking advantage of the fact that some people are getting knowledge checked, because I've seen some Storm players here. I've seen some Storm players here. And yes, even some Storm players here, where they are so used to being in games where the enemy team will come out of spawn. You'll be up there throwing wind, lightning, and they'll just be taking rain to the face and be like, what's happening? I don't understand why I'm getting soaked. What? I don't understand. Where is that coming from? It's not on my screen, so it can't be an actual threat. Where is the enemy? Where is this water coming from? I don't see it. I don't understand. My shirt is being soaked. It has literally changed colors, and I can't figure out where it's coming from. But I don't see any enemies, so it must just be sweat. And they just move on with their day while you get 50 final blows. No one seems to know what's going on, and you just lose the game. Right? Some of you have teams where they just let the Flyers do whatever, and you look like this at the end of the game, and for some reason, nobody seems to know what's going on. But as that Storm player, sometimes you're just cooking up a storm, pun intended, and you're climbing up the ranks. And eventually, you think you're untouchable, because I've seen the ego of some of you Flyer players. Y'all be like, man, I'm cooking, I'm unbeatable. And it's because the people in the rank that you are playing at, for some reason, they have a very tough time doing this. You might have missed it. It was very subtle. I'll do it one more time in slow motion. Looking up. For some people, getting them to look up is impossible. But there's even one other skill that's even harder for some people to do, and that's doing this. Once again, slow motion. I'll do it one more time. You ready? Looking behind them. So you flankers and you Flyers who think y'all are on the uptrend, eventually you hit a brick wall of people just simply knowing how to look up and deal with you. And then it becomes, can't be my fault. It's not the fact that I'm running into triple hit scan. It's not the fact that I don't know how to play in certain areas that Hulk can't just jump up and powerbomb me to the Earth's crust. No, it's never my fault. My healers aren't looking at me and pocketing me to the end of the Earth, so therefore it is their fault, and they're the ELO agents. And then you start saying heals in the chat. Y'all start typing heals, and then your healer's like, dude, do you not see what's happening? You're getting double dinked by Hella. There's no, you gonna have to switch. Nah, man, I got a 70% win rate, bro. I'm cooking, bro. It's like, yes, you might be cooking, but the GDC conference actually talks about this. Sometimes cooperating with your team and picking the right hero in the right situation, taking into variables into consideration like the map we're on, the enemy team's composition, or dare I even go to say it, your own team's composition, because some of you pick some outlier pick that doesn't even go with the rest of the team comp. You're like, man, we got all these flyers. Let's go Adam and Jeff as a backline. Not saying that it can't be done at some point, but you realize you're making it harder on yourselves just by doing that. Sometimes, guys, they got a Wolverine. They got some real tank busters. They're running Mag Emma. And you walking in there, I am Groot. Like, what do you think is gonna happen when you get choked up? Help, help, oh God. And then you get stabbed and kidnapped. Like, what do you think is gonna happen at that point? Like, at some point, you're losing a character select. And by dying over and over and over again, you're choosing to let this happen. Because the algorithm has a lot of things that it does take into consideration. It has to take into consideration, and it does not bat 1,000. It's not even close. Because sometimes, a lot of you have to understand that it's not always the other people on your team's problem. Sometimes you have to realize, oh, my team is really bad at dealing with Black Panther. Let me pick something that allows me to assist with them dealing with the Black Panther. But no, you'll sit there and just keep doing your own thing. Your backline gets tore up, and then you say, my backline through. I'm not saying that your backline was good. I'm not saying that they're not to blame to some degree. But the fact that you're on a team and you said, forget the team, I'm not helping them with some of their deficiencies, you are a bad teammate. You might be a pretty decent player, but as a teammate, you are a 2-pack of ass. And that is going to cause some friction, which is once again, something else that is talked about in that conference. I'll probably have graphics on the screen here at some point, and some of y'all make it hard on yourselves on purpose for some reason. But speaking of team compositions, as you guys can see here on the graphic, some of you who are one tricks, you probably are actually better suited for the algorithm because it knows exactly what to expect from you. But some of you, y'all might be GM tank players. You might be Celestial tank players, cooking on tank. But let's say your team is filled with tank players, and then you go, all right, I guess I'm playing DPS. But your DPS is diamond. Guess what happens when you're not getting no kills anymore, buddy? Guess what happens when you're like, well, we also have a Psylocke, but we don't have anyone to play support, so you try to take your group brain and put it in a Jeff body, and it just don't work. So you're like, well, I'll go Cloak and Dagger, and you know Cloak and Dagger at like a very level 1 basic level, and you might be a plat Cloak and Dagger with no survival instincts, survivability skills, or even knowing that when an enemy is diving you and they're close, you could throw your light daggers at them, and because of the pulsating of the light daggers, as you're hitting the enemy, it's blowing up and hitting you, and you're also healing yourself. Some people don't know that, but now that you know that, maybe you could survive. Maybe that, oh man, almost got out of there, almost got my cooldowns back. There's a lot of things that you have to take into account, even when you're playing the more simple characters, that I don't think people actually take into account. Because believe it or not everybody has the ability to play every character on the roster at the exact same level across the board. Some of you are better at one than the other. Some of you are really good at one and should never touch Black Widow ever in a game with any stakes at all. Please, I will hit you in the face with a coconut if I have to, because you have the game sense of a ketchup packet and it needs to stop yesterday. You understand? All right. I'm talking to a very specific person on my friends list. You know who you are. We're not discussing it. This is law. Abide it. That being said, there's a lot that the algorithm does account for and has to account for, but not all of it has to do with why you can't climb. A lot of you guys get tilted way too easy. Some of you guys go into tilt queues way too easy. And some of you do this thing that, I'm not gonna lie, there's no algorithm that can prepare you for this. But some people, they do better out of spite. I will give you the example that we've all seen. Y'all are winning. Y'all are raw dogging. Y'all are beating the crap out of the enemy. It's not even close. It's GG's, no ovaries. It's cooked. W secured. And then halfway through, one of your idiot teammates goes, "Well, Spider-Man, you're getting rolled." Had they not said anything, they'd have kept rolling out on Spider-Man and dying. But now they're like, all right. And now they pick a hero that they can get value on. And suddenly, it's a War Games, WrestleMania, anything goes, Bloodline rules match. And you're fighting for your life. And sometimes y'all lose the game. And it's like, why did y'all have to speak? Why did you have to talk smack? Why did you have to open your mouth in the text chat and say anything? Why? Tell me why. And there's usually no answer. They usually just talk smack and then invite the other team to try a little bit harder. And it's annoying. I hate it. You hate it. We all hate it, but y'all gotta stop doing it. Or the other one that I hate is there's this thing called communication. Remember how we talked about working together before? So communication is a big thing. You can get two teams that are relatively even and the matchmaking actually did its job. But some teams have these things called, let me get it in the frame, microphones. Hi, it's a microphone. And then they say things into it like, that Black Panther is behind you. And you know what happens when they hear that comm? They turn around. Meanwhile, if your team doesn't have mics, you might see a Black Panther, but you don't say anything because you assume if I saw it, everyone saw it, no one saw it. So now, instead of being on the mic and be like, hey, Cloak and Dagger, play up a little bit. The Black Panther's coming from behind. If you move up, we can protect you and peel for you easier. And they'd be like, okay, got it. Your Cloak and Dagger's just, oh, dear God in heaven. Back in the spawn room. And it just happens over and over and over again. And then you guys, wow, Cloak, you suck. And it's like, come on, bro. Y'all could have helped. Y'all could have communicated. And sometimes just being in the team chat and hearing the calls, or not even using the call. Some of y'all don't even ping when y'all see trouble coming. And you know they have their ult. You don't even bother hitting the ping button because that's an extra keystroke that you don't have time for. And I know I talked about character differences before. Sorry, I had to dry off my glasses. But I know we talked about character differences before, but sometimes y'all will straight up lose at character select because your team, you got 3 flyer players, 2 people who play support, but then it's like Adam and Jeff or Ultron and Jeff. And then the other team's got a Phoenix and a Hela, and y'all didn't ban, you didn't ban them. And then they also have a Luna player. And they also have someone who can also play Punisher. So now your entire skyline is just getting evaporated, eviscerated. They're lost in space. And now they have to play characters that they're not fundamentally as good at. And now your team suffers because no one's playing their main anymore. There's a lot of variables that this matchmaking thing has to consider. And once again, it does not always bat 1,000, especially when some of us, we like to play multiple roles. You might be feeling Groot right now. Next game, you're playing Magneto. But next game, you're playing Invisible Woman. Next game after that, you're playing Blade. And there's only ever been one Blade. Only ever gonna be one Blade. By the way, you should watch my Blade video. I thought it was one of the better works that I've had on the channel. But you guys can be the judge of that. But I'm not gonna yap too much. I'll leave the description in the description below, the GDC conference, if you want to watch the video in full. But yes, while it is a doggone shame that some of your games are chopped up to the ELO agency, it's not why you can't climb. Because even with this matchmaking, it tries to keep you around 50%, and some of y'all are way, way lower than that. Not to mention the fact that some of you can climb with a 45% win rate, which therefore means that technically if you just play long enough, you'll climb, but some of you do play long enough and you're still hard stuck gold. So how can we really say that it's the EOMM that's keeping you down? It's not making your job easier, but it is not completely stopping anyone. Anyways, that's all I got for today. I'm gonna go back to actually playing the game because that's what I do. I like to play games when I'm not working. Duh.